Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you my recipe for my mini cheesecakes topped with cherry compote. They're so easy to put together, an absolute joy to serve to any party because they're fantastic, especially for this time of year if you're entertaining a lot. They're bite-sized, they're great, just grab and go, no need for a fork and a plate and all that, which makes life a lot easier when entertaining. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some plain cream cheese softened at room temperature, granulated sugar, a little touch of sour cream, eggs, a little bit of lemon, some all-purpose flour, a pinch of salt, and this is some vanilla paste. And then you also need some fresh cherries, additional sugar, cornstarch, a little bit of unsalted butter, and last ingredient is some little vanilla wafers. Now what I have here is a mini muffin tin that I have sprayed with nonstick spray, and I put a vanilla wafer inside each little one. Now what you do need to do, because the vanilla wafer kind of doesn't, you could leave it like that, but you want to push it down a little bit. You push it down, and if the sides break a little bit, that's totally fine, because I should probably do this. There you go. That way it fits better, but doesn't stay well over that, but that's okay. I also have my oven preheated to 350, so we are ready to rock and roll. Now before you get everything ready, you want to get your cherries ready, and now unless you want to give yourself a total nervous breakdown, you absolutely can pick them by hand, but I suggest investing in a cherry pitter, which I actually have several of. You can find them online. It's where I got mine. They're a lifesaver. Pit them, great, good to go. And you want to make sure that your cream cheese is at room temperature. I leave mine out on the counter overnight, and it's really nice and soft. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my cream cheese in my spatula and just kind of soften this just a little tiny bit to make it a little easier, with my mixer. All right, that's looking good. I'm going to add in my sugar, pretty much everything else. It's very simple, very straightforward, not complicated. And you can top these if you don't want to make the cherry compote, which essentially what we're making with the cherry compote is a homemade cherry pie filling that you get in a can. I don't like canned cherry pie filling at all, so I kind of make my own, which is what this is. My flour and salt. The flour is not very much of it, but I feel like it kind of helps hold things together better. Some vanilla paste, which you guys know I'm absolutely and positively obsessed with. It's unbelievably good. And you can put as much or as little as you want. I'll do a tiny bit more, probably 2 teaspoons altogether. And then a little bit of a lemon zest, because even in my traditional cheesecake, I like to add lemon zest and a little touch of sour cream, because the sour cream is a little tangy, adds a little tanginess to the sweet sort of cream cheese, and the lemon zest just gives it great flavor. So we're going to add some of that. Not too much, because this is not a lemon cheesecake after all. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my handheld whisk here and cream this all together. Awesome. You want that to be really nice and smooth. Set that aside and let's work on this. Now, what I was mentioning earlier, kind of push things down just a little bit, and then I've got some unsalted butter melted, and I just like to dab a little bit of butter, on each one. That way, if they break or anything, the butter is kind of what holds them together as they bake. If that makes any sense. That looks great. Okay, now it's on to the filling. Beautiful creamy mixture. I use a little ice cream scoop. I find that it fills them up perfectly. These things have got so many purposes. I don't know why they're called ice cream scoops. They should be called an all-purpose scoop. Note to self, invent an all-purpose scoop. Anyways, I'm just going to fill these up until they're all ready. That looks great. Now, this batter mixed enough for 1.5 little mini muffin pans, but I'm going to save the other half for myself for in a few days, because I ordered a little mini mold online, and I want to make little mini cheesecakes in different shapes. So there you go. I'm going to pop these into the oven preheated at 350 for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out and let them cool at room temperature. But in the meantime, we're going to make our cherry compote. Let's go and get started on our cherry compote. I've got a saucepan here. I'm going to add in my fresh cherries. I love fresh cherries so much. But unless I make cherry flavored things myself, I'm not a fan of artificially flavored cherries. Hence why I don't like cherry pie filling. I don't like that artificial flavor, which is really funny because I'm kind of the opposite with a lot of things. I like them flavored, but I don't like the actual thing. I don't like, for example, I don't like soda, but I like sort of like a sweet soda candy, which I hardly ever eat, and I used to eat them when I was a kid. But a little tidbit for the day. Anyway, I've got my lemon, I've got my sugar, and I've got my fresh cherries. I'm giving everything a good stir. Now, for the sugar, and it really depends on the kind of cherries that you buy and how sweet they are. I'm not using very much today, only about a quarter cup, only because it doesn't need it. My cherries are already really sweet. So I'm just going to stir these around. I'm going to put my lid on, and I'm going to let these cook for about 7 to 8 minutes or until the cherries are starting to cook down and release a lot of their natural juices. This looks great. I just took the lid off. They've been cooking for about 7 minutes. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my cornstarch, put it into a slightly bigger bowl. Unless you put it into a bigger bowl to begin with, then you wouldn't have to do this step. How you like my little mini ladle? I fancy it. Anyways, I'm going to take some of this juice. I'm going to add it to my cornstarch, and I'm just going to mix it together to make like a slushy. And then we're going to add it to the cherries. That's all. Whoop, I'm going to have to add some more. Looks good. I guess it's the opposite of a slushy. A slurry, because a slushy is more, it's cold. I'm going to add it to the mixture. Stir this together, and I'm going to cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes or until the mixture thickens beautifully, which is going to get there in no time. That is done. Actually just took a couple of minutes. Oh yeah, really depends on the kind of cherries you get and how much natural juice comes out of them. They'll take between 3 to 4 minutes to reduce and thicken, but that is done. I'm gonna let it cool completely, pop it in the fridge until it's really, really cold, along with the cheesecakes, because they need to be in the fridge for several hours, and I'm gonna show you what they look like when they're done. My little cheesecake baked for about 14 minutes. They were getting too dark, so I stopped at 14 minutes exactly. And then I let them cool on the counter till they were completely cold. And then I popped them in the fridge to cool for several hours and set. I've got my cherry compote ready as well. And I just take like you can use a butter knife. I just take like a small little offset spatula. And look, they come out with absolutely no resistance. Love them. Just take a little bit of your fresh compote. You don't want to take too much. Usually 1 cherry would be enough. And then I like to sprinkle them a little tiny bit with confectioner's sugar. And then I'm going to serve them on this little muffin tin, cookie tin, tier, tray, whatever this is called. And then and I'm saying only if you're feeling like being a little bit of a fancy pants that day, get yourself a little bunch of fresh mint. That way when you go ahead and serve these to your guests, look how cute they are. You could do it on the side, you could do it straight in the middle. I think they're absolutely adorable, but I'm going to eat one right now. Nothing like it. There are times when only cheesecake will do. These are creamy, they're sweet. I love the freshness from the cherries. They're a match made in food heaven. Hop on over to laurainthekitchen.com to get the recipe. Let's put little baby cakes. I'm gonna go finish putting these together. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.